Yeah, how you going? Yeah, I thought I'd change the scenery. It is the 19th of April 2013 as 11:14 or 23:14 in Navy time. Now, how many times have you seen someone come on to the show with their sunglasses on? Well, that's me. It's a medical condition. It's in my eyes. Yes, I still have ulcers in my eyes. Now, it's caused through stress, and stress on the body means that it's got to find an outlet for your stress to go. Some people get the ulcers on the hands, dermatitis on the hands. Well, for me, it goes to the eyes. So I thought to myself, Roy Orbison, or how many others do you see wearing sunglasses at night time inside? Men in Black? Can we do Men in Black? Only thing is, I ain't got the black suit. The Blues Brothers. Now that's a movie. Did you know the Blues Brothers has the most number of cars in any one accident at any one time? I think there was 80 odd cars crashed up in one accident for the Blues Brothers. Roy and well, maybe I should go through and get the Blues Brothers out as a song, because I have the movie, I have the CD, and the music's on YouTube. But it would be out of character for me to go to the Blues Brothers when I'm working on Bobby Dazzler. Now, I can't do Blues Brothers until I do Bobby Dazzler. Now, my guest today is Creation. It's a New Zealand band singing Laura, I love you. Tell Laura I love you. Now, love. Love comes in many different ways. Love could be, I love the job. Now, are you going to marry the job? Are you going to... Is that the job where when you go on holidays, you can't wait to get back to the job so you can tell everyone at work all about your holidays? Just make them feel bad that their holidays wasn't as good as your holidays? Is that what love is? Love to crack an egg. That's an old saying from an Australian movie. Australians love to crack an egg. That is to tell a joke. To open up. To crack an egg is to open up to someone. To tell them something that they don't already know about you. Yeah, well, I'm putting that... Well, see, I've got to act like a black and blind person, don't I? It's all a blur. Yeah, love. Love to crack an egg. Open up to someone. Love could be, I love a game. Is that the game that you follow a team to win? Remember? Not from victory. To come together. Not to go apart. Maybe if it was that way, to win, a W for win, you can do it like that, that's okay, to win. Although, even as a winner, there has to be a loser. Although, you can win something without someone losing it. It's like Powerball over in the United States. Ellen is now promoting gambling. She's giving out tickets to the Powerball. Now, she gave out so many hundreds of tickets last week, and they come back and they said, who was a winner? Out of the whole thing, there was one winner, and she got $2. Out of all those tickets she gave out, $2. So is she trying to say, well, there are big winners, there are little winners. But if you don't have a go, you'll never know. That's an old saying of Australia. If you haven't been to Northern Territory, you never go, you'll never been, and you'll never know. So the reality is, she's promoting gambling. So now we've got youngsters going to concerts that they can't attend. Now we've got the gambling. They're the two negatives. But the positive is she was talking about teenagers. And we all have that thing about teenagers. Now, here's creation. Now, they're not on Wikipedia, but I've always had to find some background information on them. And I'll tell you about it after the song. This is creation. And Laura, I love her.
He wanted to give her everything. Flowers, presents, but most of all, a wedding ring. He saw a sign for a stock car race, $1,000 prize of bread. He couldn't get Laura on the phone, so to her mother, Charlie said,
Tell Laura I love her. Tell Laura I need her. Tell Laura I need her.
He drove his car to the racing ground. He was the youngest driver there. The crowd roared as they started the race. Round the track they went at a deadly pace. No one knows what happened that day, how his car overturned in flames. But as they pulled his body from the twisted wreck, with his dying breath, they heard him say, "Tell Laura I love her. Tell Laura I need her. Tell Laura not to cry. My love for her will never die." Now in the chapel where Laura prays for her Tommy who passed away, it was for Laura he lived and died. Alone in the chapel she hears him cry, "Tell Laura I love her. Tell Laura I need her. Tell Laura not to cry. My love for her will never die. Tell Laura I love her. Tell Laura I need her. Tell Laura not to die.
Yeah, that was creation. Tell Laura I love her. Now, the lineup for creation is Greg Christensen, vocals, Paul Jeffars, guitar, John Maloney, keyboards, Neil Mickelson, drums, bass, and Mark Phillips, drums. Tom McDonald was responsible for discovering the creation. He signed them to his own UBA Records label. They formed in Blenheim in 1970, but soon based themselves out of Wellington. Other groups and artists that Tom booked after in Wellington from 1962 to 1974, and there were many, included The Simple Image and Barry and the Breakaways. The Creation's first single, Carolina, Here in My Heart, was released in May 1972, and by June had peaked at number 7 on the national charts. Carolina was entered into 1972 Lock Scene Golden Disc Awards, where it won the Group Award. A follow-up single, Can't Help Myself, Pearl, was not successful, not even getting a look at the charts. A self-titled album was also released in 1972. Little more was heard from the group until September 1973, when they released a remake of the old classic Tell Laura I Love Her, with Blind Boy on the reverse. For some reason, the song was even more successful than Carolina, reaching number 3 on the national charts. 3 more singles were released during 1974, and none of them made the charts. They were Teeny Bopper, Windy City, and 24 Sycamore Street, Eloise, and Start Again. If I ever dream I hurt you. That wasn't quite the end of creation. Radio stations in Sydney started playing Tell Laura I Love Her, and in August 1974, almost a year after being released in New Zealand, the song had reached number 4 on Sydney charts and number 20 on the Australian charts. The group was rushed over to Australia by Tom Robinson, but unfortunately there had been that many lineup changes. Since the song was recorded, there were no original members who had performed in the recording left. Creation spent 3 months in Sydney, playing to very small crowds before returning home and splitting up. Greg Christensen went on to record 3 solo singles between 1977 and 1980. First 2 were on the Vertigo label and were Marie, The Good Guys and the Bad Guys in 1977, and Smiley, Windy City in 1978. In 1980, his last single was on EMI and called Baby I Like It. They must have these forward slashes, meaning that must be on the flip side. The other song is on the flip side of a single of not an LP, an RP. If You See My Baby, it was also released in Australia. Well, that's it for creation. Now, Stevie Wonder. There used to be a joke going around the place. How do you confuse Stevie Wonder? Move the furniture in his room. How do you change the notes of a music recording for Stevie Wonder? Change the ivories around. But then again, it wouldn't matter where the ivories were. You couldn't see them in the first place because they're black and white. So he just plays it by touch and sound. See. Now, one of the things I do know is when my eyes do go, because it didn't happen. First happened in 1992. Stress in the Navy. And what they did was, instead of employing me into day jobs, they employed me in the night jobs. And one of the places they put me was in the galley. And the galley for the Navy is where they do have the meals. It's like a mess, junior sailor's mess. And I was working there one night, and one of the cooks came in, really pissed. This is after midnight. He's really pissed. And he goes up to one of the girls cooks sitting in the office, and he says, I went and got a tattoo. And she says, what'd you get tattooed? He says, I wanted to put I love you as a tattoo. And she says, where were you going to put it? He says, and he undoes his zip, flops out his little fella, big fella, peels back the foreskin, and there's I-L-O-V. And she says, there's some letters missing. Then you want I love you? And he says to her, it'll start to hurt. That's as far as I can go before I start crying. So now when he peels back his foreskin, he's got I love. So now we just add the rest to it. Now, let's go back to Boston. We're watching the, Channel 9 says tonight on the show that the person that they were looking at, that was an 82-year-old in England for child sex pedophilia, because that guy Savile was involved, and apparently he and Rolf Harris were mates. So Rolf Harris had knowledge of what Savile did. Now that doesn't mean Rolf Harris was involved in it, but one of the things that came out from one of the newspapers was a prominent 82-year-old Australian in Britain at the time was involved with the same subject matter as what Savile was in. And all you have to do is go and do a search on Google, an 82 prominent Australian in England, and it came up. Rolf Harris, 3 weeks ago. Now, someone at these TV channels could have just done the same thing, done a search to get a name of the person who's been investigated. Now, I don't know if they could mention his name 3 weeks ago, but they're mentioning his name now. I don't know what the difference is. I mean, they could have just said, well, Rolf Harris is in England. He's an 82-year-old prominent person. I don't know how many other 82-year-old prominent Australians are working in England. Could they deduct, or what's the word? There's a term for breakdown to the number of people who are actually in England who are 82 prominent in Australia. There can't be too many of them in England. We can actually go back and do another search. But they're saying he's 83 now. But at least, if someone did their investigations right, they would have had his name 3 weeks ago, not just today. So the news could have been 3 weeks old instead of being 1 day old. But as it is, he is a great Australian. I always liked watching Rolf Harris. He used to have a show with a fox of morning on the ABC here. Basil Brush, I think. Basil Brush was called. The Fox. And he used to have stories, and he used to do paintings and drawings. It was over like watching Mr. Squiggle. Does anyone else have Mr. Squiggle in the world? Where we have a guy with a pencil in his nose, and he comes down in a spaceship, lands, and kids are putting in drawings or shapes or lines on a piece of paper. It could be circles, half circles, diamonds, and then he's going to make something out of it. Now that's the same thing as what Rolf Harris used to do. There'd be a blotch, and then make something out of that blotch. He'd have one drawing, and all of a sudden he'd turn it upside down and add more to it, then making another drawing. So there are things out there that they're just not quite certain about, and until someone's found guilty of something, why do they have to make it so well known? Can we get to the stage where they're guilty and then mention his name? Because they're only investigating. He has been arrested, but we don't know what he's been arrested for. We don't know what the charges were because they're not going to release it. Because all those names should be withheld because the people that were responsible or that they've been related to are underage. So all those underage people can't be named. So in reality, now his name has been put out there. I don't know if there's any consequences to being lawyers or the courts having his name put out there as being the one who's been arrested and could have could be in collusion with whoever Savile was and whatever he did. Well, I hope he doesn't get jailed, or I mean, from my perspective, I didn't know anything better than who he was. So we'll hear more about it through the week as time goes on. Alright, that's my time, 19th of April 2013. It's 11:35, 23:35. Yeah, Blues Brothers, Roy Orbison, Men in Black, and who was I said before? Stevie Wonder. This is for you. And tomorrow's song, if I can read it, my glasses went down there. All right, there we are. We'll double up the glasses. All right, yeah, double up the glasses. The Bootleg Family, and the song and the Stoop song by the Bootleg Family. We'll get that tomorrow. All right, love you all. Bye.